Perfect timing.
Okay, we all set?
We're rolling?
We're rolling.
Today's January 22nd, 2021, the time being 5:31 with this meeting of the Tilton Northfield Fire and EMS Budget Committee come to order. I'm going to read the checklist for virtual meetings. The chair of the Budget Committee finds that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet in person and electronically. Please note that the physical location of the Senate meeting is Northfield Town Hall at 21 Summer Street, Northfield. If you're unable to join the meeting in person and wish to observe and listen electronically, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. We're utilizing Microsoft.
Unknown participant is now joining.
That's you, Charlie.
Hello.
Hey! We are utilizing Microsoft Teams for this electronic meeting. All members of the Budget Committee have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen, and if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following number: 1-603-370-3071. The phone conference ID number is 267-641-442#. Or by email, info@tnfd.org, with the invitation to join the meeting on your computer or mobile app. If anybody has a problem connecting to this meeting, please email ktobine@tnfd.org. Okay, let's do a roll call vote for attendance. Dawson here.
Scott here.
Kevin.
Jason Wright.
Jane Alden.
Charlie?
Charlie Burke.
All right. Please let the record show that Eric Pyra has not yet joined the meeting.
He just joined.
He just joined?
He's coming in right now, I believe.
Okay.
Unknown participant is now joining.
Eric?
Can we get him to do a roll call on here?
Eric, would you sign in as attending? Okay.
All right.
No. Okay.
Nice. All right. So let's do our minutes. January 15th. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at those?
Yes.
I looked at them online and found one spelling error. And I think, if I remember, it says Fells, and it should be Field.
Yes. I caught
Did you
that,
sign
and
that?
I read it as well.
Okay. That's all I found. Anyone else?
That's all I found.
Everybody read through them? With the shake it? Jason's doing it. Oh, you weren't there, all right. Motion to accept the minutes of January 15th, 2021 as corrected.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Dawson, yes?
Scott, yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Jason?
Abstain.
Jane?
Alden, yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Eric? Did we lose him?
No, he's still here. But he's going to be in and out. If he's working, he's
Oh,
working the
okay.
phones and
All
stuff.
right.
So.
Well, they're passed. Okay. Those review warrant articles, now. Oh,
You want to do this? I got a
We-
question.
Go ahead.
Just to clarify, I know it's on the minutes, but just trying to get up
Go
to
ahead.
speed. So a motion was made to fund the hydrants to zero, and there was more yeses than nos, so we're recommending to fund the hydrants to zero on that contract. Huh? Okay, cool. Sorry I missed that one.
There is no contract yet. It's coming up, it's in process.
yeah, we had quite a
There we
discussion.
go.
To fund it at nothing.
Wow, I love you guys.
Yeah, we didn't hear anything back from them, did we? Did they?
I had a call from Scott Davis yesterday. He asked to be here. And was giving me a bunch of information, and I'm sorry I didn't retain it, about why we should fund it.
Okay.
I invited him to come, and then when I talked to Kathy, she said that the commissioners had decided at their meeting to make it a warrant article,
Okay.
so there was no need for him to come to us. So I took it out of arguments. All right. So I'm looking through the budget, and I still see things in yellow.
Those are all things that you changed when you were doing the going through the budget process.
Okay,
And you asked me to highlight the changes you had made.
okay. And we got through the budget.
Yes.
The chief has asked me to, if we would, on page 7, reconsider under equipment maintenance and repairs, the Opticom repair, and he does have new information. Does anybody want to hear that, review it?
I'm all ears.
Jane? No? Charlie? Yes? No?
Say that again?
Do you want to look at the Opticom repair? The chief has said he has new information.
Sure, definitely.
Okay, I think that's a majority consensus. Is Eric still with us?
Eric, are you here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to readdress
Can you
that?
hear me?
Yes.
Do you want to
Do you want to readdress the Opticom repair?
I'd like to hear the new information.
Okay, good. Chief, would you?
Sure. So after our discussion, I think it was 2 or 3 meetings ago, you suggested that I contact Senator Guia, and which I did. Gaida. I've heard like 12 different ways of pronouncing his name. So.
Okay.
So I did contact his office. His office did contact the state DOT. They ended up coming out. They did all the diagnosis. They repaired some stuff that was on their side that they needed to repair. And it turns out that there's still some intersections that are not working properly, but they gave me a list of parts, which I put out, found out what the parts cost. And if you supply that line at $650, I'll be able to retain all the parts to repair them. And the New Hampshire DOT said they would do all the installation at no cost. So I'm requesting that we fund it at $650.
Hi, how are you? Yeah.
So I make a motion, because I kind of poked that hornet's nest in the beginning, to fund that line at $650.
And I'll second that.
Okay, discussion. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, the budget of $2.5 million, there's $650 in there, trust me.
Anyone else? Questions? Charlie, Eric, questions?
No, ready for vote.
All right. So, Dawson, yes?
Scott, yes.
Jim?
No.
Jason?
Jason, yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Eric?
I've heard someone come up to his desk, so.
I think that's a yes. Motion carries.
Yeah.
And 1 no. So 650?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Now, are we done with this budget?
Yes. All you have left is the warrant articles.
we have approved all of the lines to give us a bottom line. We haven't left anything out.
I don't think so.
I always feel uncomfortable not approving a bottom line, because it is a bottom line budget.
Okay, so the bottom line is $2,589,216. I do believe.
What page is that?
Page 10 or 11. Page 9.
I'm going to be seeing if I can't do it on the computer to make sure.
Sure. So the line where it says 2,588,566, you have to add $650 to that because of the vote tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
2589216.
All right, reviewing the warrant articles.
Just the ones in yellow, the only ones.
The ones in yellow you've added the amounts to, is that what's going on?
Yes.
I had a meeting every night this week, so. All right, Article 5. You didn't vote on that?
No, because it was at 50, and then the commissioners took the input from the budget committee and raised it to 100.
Oh, that's the one that,
Yes.
we voted on it,
Yeah.
but it failed, right?
Yeah.
It failed. Okay. So Article 5, add to land building fund. Everybody have a copy? Do you need me to read it?
No.
No.
No?
Thank you.
I have a question. So, it looks like there's a few things that are happening potentially out of the unassigned fund balance. Where does that put us in terms of the balance? And there's always that question of, are we at risk? Are we below a threshold? Do we have the recommended retainage or any of that?
So
I just don't want to get into that.
using last year's, what we know what the unassigned fund balance was,
Right.
subtracting everything that we put, that we're subtracting out of this currently, it brings us down to about 344,000.
Oh, okay.
But we don't really know what this year's current unassigned fund balance is because the auditors haven't come in yet, and that won't be until February 9th or something like that they come in, or somewhere in that area. But it would bring us somewhat below the threshold of what we're looking to do.
Right.
But I think there's money that's left over from this year that is going into this unassigned fund balance that will balance it.
Okay.
So you feel comfortable with
I
it?
feel comfortable
Okay.
with it.
Anyone else? We don't have a motion on the table, but. Motion to recommend Article 5.
Second.
All right, discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's vote. Dawson, yes?
Scott, yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Thank you. Article 11. Why have we voted on it in the past?
This was again changed after the commissioners changed this warrant article after listening to the comments from the budget committee.
What did they change?
So-
I don't,
So what they added is that 50% of the revenue from the tower is to go towards next year's, to defray the cost of next year's operation. And then the other 50% is going towards defraying costs of probably a bond item, but they could use it for repairs of the fire station or radio infrastructure. And all three commissioners thought that that was a good idea, so.
motion to recommend Article 11.
I'll second.
All right, discussion. I know there was a lot of conversation last week about this.
Well, I mean, I think it's the way they wrote it now, I think it's much better to have it split, so I feel comfortable.
Anyone else?
What was the original pitch?
None of it was gonna go in the operating budget, it was all just for bonding items.
Tower income to be used to offset costs of repairs, maintenance, construction costs, and bonds of fire stations, radio communication, infrastructure.
Okay.
That was it.
Some of those items are in the operating budget anyway.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Yeah.
all right.
All right, let's vote. Dawson, yes.
Scott, yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Jane?
Aye.
Charlie?
Yes.
Eric?
Eric, yes.
And Article 13. So my understanding was do they have a contract, or this is?
No, they do not.
What does the escape clause exactly mean, the way it's written?
So if the if this were to, if they did agree and brought this article was brought before the district meeting, and it does pass, then say in the subsequent year, in one of the 5 years following, if the district meeting voted not to appropriate the money for it, that's the escape clause. So the
That would what?
not to appropriate the
The annual fee.
fee,
Yeah,
then that's how we get out of it.
okay.
So it'll be a separate warrant article every year to fund that line. And it ends up being in the operating budget, but it'd be a separate warrant article every year for that. The
Isn't that how it
annual fee.
started? It started out as a separate warrant article for a while.
It did.
Yeah.
And then in 2015 or 16, they signed a 5-year agreement.
Yeah.
And then it just went into the operating budget, and it was not voted separately after that. But the way this is a special warrant article, it has to be voted every single year.
Right. Right. Okay.
I mind you, they do not have an agreement yet, and it's the agreement, the proposed agreement from the water district. The commissioners had a number of issues with it. they wrote those issues down and sent those issues along with the proposal.
Which commissioners, water or fire?
The
Fire.
fire.
Fire commissioners, okay.
And it's in the hands of a lawyer right now to address all those, from the fire department side. And-
Yep.
And maybe probably the lawyer is probably gonna redraft the agreement with the fire department's concerns contained within the agreement, because they were not addressed in the proposal from the water district.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So, are we in discussion after a motion and a second?
Well, you guys keep running into discussion before we have a motion to discuss.
Well, I'll have to decide if I want to make a motion or
Right,
not.
backwards, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can have the discussion, then you decide you vote yes or no. Okay, so, motion to recommend Article 15.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay, discussion.
Right, so there's no requirement, and from my perspective, it's not even desirable to have an agreement. What this tells me is that, yeah, this is what we want to do, and at least for the next 5 years, we're not going to do anything to look to lower this cost or to look for another source, such as another tanker truck, because for just over 2 years of this 5-year deal, we can buy another tanker. And I'd be the one to stand up at district meeting and say, maybe we ought to buy a bigger tanker. We can use the water in an emergency anyway. We have the ability to meter the water and pay for what we use. We are paying way more than for what we use at this $125 grand a year.
It's my understanding that
That's from the
you
get-go.
cannot, lost the word. You can't, so
That
this
happens to me.
5-year agreement,
I'm sorry?
you can't bind like 2022's town meeting. You can't make a
You
decision.
can't encumber
with
those
it.
funds.
No, you can't.
Well, it's not encumbering them, but you can't
Yes.
obligate them.
It's in this book, you actually can. I just looked it up.
Oh, it is?
Well, you
Because I
can
thought,
through a
because that's where
bond.
when I came in here, that's where I was going.
Well, that's
Okay.
kind of the road we went
In
down.
this
We're trying to buy 2 fire trucks last year under one contract,
Right.
but pay for one year and pay for one the other. And
Right.
we got all in the weeds on that.
So I know you can through a bond.
There's an allowance in this book for multi-year contracts. And it quotes case law as well.
Okay,
So when I came in here, that's where I was going. You can't do this because guess what? You're making them do something that they don't want to do.
okay, good.
But I believe that is possible, but that doesn't change my argument as to, this is one cost that we have paid, how many $1 million
Exactly,
for water we don't even use.
exactly.
So,
And at one point,
And-
this deal was actually 10% of the fire district budget and 10% of the water district budget. So they were just, you know what? I don't have to be nice. We are acting as a cash cow for the water district. That's all that is.
well, they do make repairs to the system for the hydrant, so it's not just water. But, so here's my question. Our conversation last week, we came to the conclusion that if there was an emergency, they would have to supply us with water. So if there's a hydrant, do they have to supply the hydrant with water? Because I've been told now, no, they don't.
Well,
So that might be something that we want to,
if there's already a fire hydrant there, what they can do is shut the fire hydrant off at the street, which would make it much more difficult for us to
okay.
get.
But we could turn it on, right?
If we could find, if we know exactly where the valve box is, we can get the cover off the valve box, we get, and we could open the valve then we'd have to buy our own valve wrenches to do that, which is not a big cost. But in the middle of the winter, in a snowstorm, when there's, a foot of ice on the street, it could prove to be quite a problem.
problematic.
So what,
Yes.
what do you really think, realistically, the chance of them doing that? And then be willing to take the wrath of the public?
I
for
think
doing
it's-
that.
I think it's unlikely.
Very low.
So it's not for us to debate here, but I brought it up because that was the conclusion we came away with, and that was why I voted the way I did last week. So I bring it up so that we know that now we have a yes, we can, and no, we can't.
And
Outside of this meeting, we should.
this number here may change depending upon what comes back from the lawyer. And then if the water district agrees with the conditions that the fire commissioners are placing within the agreement or contract or intermunicipal agreement, and maybe they don't like what's in there and they want to change, so there's still time for negotiation, but
They can amend this on the floor of the meeting.
they certainly can. And the
Right.
commissioners are not going to sign anything until after the district meeting. At least that's the recommendation of our attorney and my recommendation to them as well. If this, they can bring the agreement to the floor, and this is our agreement, but don't sign it, because once the commissioners sign it, it's like the selectmen sign an agreement. It has to be, it's an agreement between two organizations and it's binding. Because the commissioners can enter into contracts without the okay of the governing body. That's part of being a selectman. Part of being a privilege of the selectman, I guess. Authority.
Right, the budget committee can still reduce the budget by that amount, and then they'll be forced to look for it otherwise. But anyway, the motion on the table is to recommend Article 13. Any more discussion?
Well, I know I asked this last week, and I know there's no water up here, but I mean, what is, do we know what the, like, where does the 125 come from? Is that just a big vicious number? Like, is there any data behind
It was back when it started,
That's been the agreement.
there was a tariff, when it was privately owned, before the district, the water district was formed, there was a tariff system that was approved, and then when the water district formed, they immediately adopted that tariff as their own. So there was a fee schedule and all these things in place that were approved by PUC going way back, and then they immediately jumped on and said, oh, well, we have the right to adopt that tariff, so they did it. And it wasn't based on per hydrant, it wasn't, I mean, we were trying to, and I was on the first fire district budget, but we were trying to dissect this whole thing. Is it per hydrant, is it this, is that? No, and then it became just a number for a collective system based on what used to be a per hydrant fee. So they morphed that per hydrant thing and rolled it into one big, but at that point, not all the hydrants were flowing the same rate. Then they went out and started color coding them and flow testing them, because we were buying a pig in a poke. And so that unearthed a whole other layer of, oh gee, we're paying for hydrants that are, 500 gallons versus 1,000 versus whatever, that was all flowing the same. It's been a mess for a long time.
So a little information, and this is from the water district side. They said that when they put infrastructure in the ground, size of pipe, hot fire hydrants, it costs more because of what fire department's flow requirements are than if they're just supplying potable water to houses. They wouldn't have to put anything more in than maybe 4-inch pipes instead of 8 or 12-inch pipes. But that's not really accurate either, because they have contracts with, J. Jill and the Tanger Outlet Mall and Home Depot and stuff that also require large flows, so they need large pipes for those as well. So,
And they're not obligated to do that. They're not obligated to put a 12-inch pipe in the ground. They can put in whatever they want.
they can. But if they have a contract to supply a certain amount of gallons per minute to J. Jill, or
Exactly.
then that's what they have to
But
do.
their contracts with those other private entities don't obligate us to buy their water.
And Home Depot's got a standing supply out in the back. They got an above ground water, and Lowe's does, and
Yep.
BJ's has a swimming pool in the basement, underground. So
Yeah, there's a few cisterns out there. for private use, yeah.
And there's just better ways to spend that money, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable for a maintenance fee, but I can't imagine maintaining and painting and fixing broken hydrants costs $125 a year, but not knowing, I just think that's too high.
I think the water district owns about 100 fire hydrants. There's a lot of private fire hydrants that are in like the Home Depot yard or Lowe's yard or
I mean, do they
Kohl's.
keep track of that, do you think? Like, do you think anybody from the water department would know how much they specifically spent on maintenance for hydrants?
I couldn't tell you. There's, like, the water department doesn't even have a website, so.
They must know what they spend on.
They have an accounting system, I'm sure, because
There are
they're a special village district, just like the fire department, so they have to have.
There's two parts to the fire district. There's the fire district that supplies the water, and then there's a company within it
Oh, you mean the water?
water
Water
district,
district,
Yeah,
yeah.
is that,
that does all the maintenance and repairs.
yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to recommend Article 13. Any more discussion? All right, Dawson, yes.
Scott, no.
Kevin,
No.
Jason,
No.
Jane,
No,
yep, Charlie,
Steve,
Eric. You have 4 no's.
One of those guys having dinner together or something?
No,
I think Eric's carried,
Is he Ubering?
right?
no, it's not Ubering.
Okay.
We have 4 no's,
Yeah, that's right.
1 yes and an abstention, that was carried. No.
So you are not recommending this one?
Okay, 14. Apparatus and Equipment Fund. So they put in, that's the amount that we
That's the amount you approved.
came up with. Okay. Motion to recommend Article 14.
second,
Discussion. Anybody? Charlie, discussion?
That's exclusive of the trucks, that's just,
Right.
this is just for, gotcha,
The truck is Article
Separate one.
15.
separate.
Eric,
Is
any
there anything in
discussion?
here for the new truck or ambulance?
You mean equipment wise? No.
All set?
Well, that's a good question. So the new engine, the 720, does that include hose and tools, or is that fair to
Well,
just the
can we,
truck?
oh, is that gonna depend on how you vote on this one?
Well, it's just curious.
So, the new engine is, we're taking, whatever, when that arrives, everything that's on engine 3 is just going on the new engine. So, at this time, we don't feel that that engine needs anything new that we don't already have.
so we already went over this in the budget, right?
I didn't hear.
Yes,
Yes.
Voting for what was in the budget. Okay, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, let's go. Dawson, yes.
Scott, yes.
Kevin?
No.
Jason?
Yes.
Jane?
yes,
Charlie?
Yes,
Eric?
yes,
All right. So the operating budget, that number changed.
yes.
It was down.
2,500,000.
Perfect, there it is. So, this is not a warrant article,
But it is your budget.
right, but it's not a warrant article. So, if I were going to make a motion right now, it would be to not recommend. Because we can't change this amount. Or,
The amount that's in there is what is your,
I remember.
But these warrant articles are the commissioners. They are not ours.
right, but it's your budget, so it's your budget figure that goes into this warrant article.
Right, but it's not in there now. So I was going to say we could make a motion to approve Article 17 in the amount of what we've approved for a budget.
We could do that.
Yes, you can do that.
And then let the commissioners change their warrant article. Would everybody be comfortable with that motion?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve Article 17 in the amount of $2,589,216. Or I say recommend.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Is that very clear what my intent was? Okay.
Yes, very clear.
Charlie, Eric, any questions?
Nope.
Eric, do you understand what I just did?
I was not able to listen, so I'm sorry.
I just made a motion for Article 17, and I stated the amount that the Budget Committee has approved so that the commissioners could change it.
But we can't change it.
These are not our warrant articles.
That's right, we cannot change that.
Right, so that's why I made the motion the way I did.
I don't know if that flies. Because we're voting on something that's not there. We're done, we were done with the budget at 2588566. We were done with the budget.
But
This
you would-
warrant article is printed. If this was left to be determined, I think we could do what we're doing. But because it's not, we either recommend that number or nothing.
Well, so here's the other part of this, the commissioners would have to meet to change that before the public hearing, right?
Yes.
Right, they have a meeting on the 2nd of February.
Okay. But I think the motion
And
I
the difference
made,
is $650.
I know, but the motion I made is contingent on, if this number doesn't change, then we're not recommending this one.
No,
We
you're
would
right.
recommend this one with our amount in it.
Right,
Okay,
I totally understand what you're doing.
okay. I've never done it before, not in 20 years.
And they can, if they vote on this number, then it can be changed there and we would recommend it,
Right,
correct?
If they change the number to 2,589,216,
That's what
then we
would-
recommend it. If they don't change it, then they don't have a vote either way,
Yeah,
okay?
yep.
okay, I
Sorry.
understand what you're doing.
All right, sorry it's convoluted, but,
I don't either.
okay. Any more discussion?
So we're not voting on the warrant article as written.
Not as written now.
No.
Like I said, if they don't change it, then they don't have our recommendation. They don't have a no or a yes. They don't have, for, as it stands, Article 17 in this draft warrant. They don't have either way from us. If they change it and we vote yes, then they do.
Correct.
Okay?
You understand?
Oh, I get it, I just don't think it's right.
Yeah, I'm a no either way, I don't care what the number is. 'Cause I don't
We're
agree with
not-
the budget,
Okay.
so.
Let's vote.
Our job is to, because we're done with the budget. We are done at 2588566. We are done with the budget.
No, actually, we're done with the budget tonight because we went back and reconsidered an amount.
For the
The
outcome,
majority voted and approved it,
that's my fault.
so our bottom line is 2589216, it's not this amount.
That's,
That is correct.
All right, let's vote. Dawson, yes.
Scott, yes.
Kevin?
No.
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 Yes.
Jane? Yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Okay, so that flies. Or passes. Okay, Okay. I think we are done. So, does anyone have anything else about the budget or the warrant articles they want to talk about? Before we talk about the public hearing. Okay, so the public hearing. I know it's the commissioner's public hearing as well. But for the budget committee, location, we have to, regardless of where we are, if we end up at the Park Street station, are you able to pull equipment out to make room?
Yes.
Okay. Is it heated? I don't remember.
Yes.
Okay. And you're able to set up proper audio?
It'll be just like this, with the microphone and the speakers.
Well, I know when we had our first meetings there was problems with the audio.
We didn't have those tools.
Okay, and you'll have audio, so if we have people attend, the public, they'll have a mic they can speak into?
We don't have that. They'd have to get near enough so that this microphone can pick it up, and this microphone can pick up to 13 feet away.
Well, the number of commissioners and budget committee members and staff, how are they gonna do that and stay 6 feet?
Take turns.
Pardon?
Take turns, like they do at the district meeting. Everybody gets a chance at the microphone.
But we put that kind of centrally located so they can hear all of us.
There'll be an opening where they'll have to come up and stand so that the microphone will pick them
Okay,
up.
but you can fix that. You're marked.
Put the tables in a circle or something.
Okay.
And leave a pathway to the microphone or something. We'll just
It's going to be a repeat of the district meeting, what's going to be.
And what time will it be?
It starts at 6 o'clock, the commissioners decided 6 o'clock.
Which day?
It's a Monday, February 8th.
I haven't been to a public hearing, so we're part of the budget for years,
And we
so.
don't know yet for sure where it's gonna be. But you will let us know.
Yes.
Yes.
Just lost my thought, I'm sorry. Oh, so my question is there any reason for so the budget committee actually, take back that, is there any reason? Yes. The public hearing is for us to gather information from the public. I don't mean to lecture you, but, and then deliberate on that and make a decision on whether we are going to, at that point, reduce any part of our budget. So, do you feel we need time set aside to do that? And how long did you give an end time for the
No,
public hearing?
there is no end time.
And what is the commissioners, how long is their public hearing going to last?
As long as it takes to read the warrant articles.
Okay.
It kind of works like district meeting, because everything is like, the commissioners do their, to do the warrant articles, and then when it comes to the budget, they read the warrant article, and then you guys take over because it's your budget. So,
We've never had a joint public hearing with Selectmen and Tilton. I'm just trying to figure out how we deliberate on the input that we received that night.
you can have another meeting, if you wish.
Yes, we could.
You could.
It would just be easier to have it,
I know.
My last recollection of doing that previously was not a lot of people. There was some questions and answers about a few hot spots here and there, and
Yeah.
it wasn't a real exhaustive thing.
Okay.
And I think it was more of an informative,
Okay.
folks asked, hey, have you thought about, or
Okay,
Yeah, I just remember Wayne Crowley having some questions about phones and,
okay.
you know, some of the things that are in his wheelhouse and some, and then,
So do you,
I don't think there'll be much need for
did you,
deliberation.
Yeah, it
because this committee has shown time and time again, zero interest in reducing the budget.
so do you feel that at the end of the public hearing, I mean, if we don't get any public, we can hold it open for 5 minutes and close it, but do you feel there's time afterwards to, if we need to?
There's no end time to the meeting, we could stay there all day.
yeah.
We always end a public hearing. You don't let it hang, you open it and then you close it.
That's right.
So once we close it,
But it's not like it'll be on for 60 minutes and then we're done. There's no pre-established interval for the length of a meeting.
We could deliberate for 5 minutes or 5 hours, there's no end time. There's an opening and closing to the public hearing, but
well, it hasn't been said, I understand that, so we, the budget committee, will have to close our public hearing. And then what I'm saying is at that point, we could, depending on what input we have, decide whether or not we need to change anything or not.
There'll probably be plenty of time that evening for you to do that if you want.
Okay,
So
that's what-
after the public hearing, I'm sure there'll be plenty of time for the budget committee to meet and deliberate if so needs be.
If we need to, okay, that's what I'm looking for. All right, anything else you want to have a conversation about tonight? No? Charlie? Eric?
Well, I have a question or comment.
Okay,
Well, we have, it's kind of the end of every year meeting, of which I've had about 3. There's an unexpended fund, and we played football with that for a while.
I'm sorry, I can't hear what
I didn't know.
that device echoes in my ear.
Something about an unexpected.
Well,
The unassigned fund balance, unexpended,
There you go.
yeah,
Remember last year, we hotly debated that.
yes.
That was a disagreement.
I don't think that's gonna be an issue this year.
And I remember seeing a report on, like, this is the projected balance, and this is the balance at the, beginning of the year. So that's not something we need to talk about?
Charlie, if you remember, there was an issue of, we raised there was raised and appropriated money for building or something, and then because we didn't do anything, or architectural or something, and then it lapsed, and then the commissioners wanted to raise and appropriate the same amount of money again through taxation, and that's what really took us into the weeds on the unassigned fund balance, because the money that we had raised and appropriated the previous year expired, went into that fund, and we wanted to rescue it from that fund rather than tax the people again for a second time for the same thing,
Right.
right?
Well, that's not an issue this year. It is what it is, and it'll be $400,000 or whatever it is, and
well, it's not a budget committee issue, it's a voter issue.
Right.
okay, I'm good then. I don't know why I wanted to prolong the meeting, but I just had that thought.
Good question. Good thought. All right,
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
roll call vote?
yes.
Yes. Yes.
I've been going backwards.
Wait, well, she's doing,
I just, cause
she started.
I was so
It's supposed to
anxious.
say
to
Jason,
bail out.
yes.
Jason Wright, yes.
Kevin?
God, yes.
Dawson, yes. Charlie?
Yes.
Eric?
That's my-
Eric?
I'll vote for proxy.
Well, motion carries.
Yeah.
We have a majority. All right. Nice work, everybody. Good night, everybody. So, we're not gonna meet again until the public hearing on the 8th. You will let us know where it is, right, the time and date.